Right. Good morning, everyone. We're letting the doors open here. This is always my favorite part, Rachel. I think I've told you that before. I like to see who shows up.
When the doors open.
The doors open. It's like having a party and they're all there.
Love it.
It's always fun. All right, we'll just give it just a moment here. Let the doors get open. You can see we're in a different location, which is fun for me. This is probably my favorite place in the whole village. Well, the library comes in a real close for me too.
That's a really nice space.
But this is art, and that makes my soul sing. So we are in the art studios of Westminster Village. My name is Candace Witt. I am the marketing director here at Westminster Village, if I haven't met you. And this is Village Chat. And welcome. And today, my special guest is Rachel Witt, our art programming director, who manages these two. We have two studios here, if you haven't been here, and all kinds of other things around the village, all pertaining to art, and a lot of stuff in the community too.
We try and be engaged. Art is an exciting opportunity to be engaged with the community as well. So I kind of refer to art programming as a little bit of the Elmer's glue. And when we get dumped out, we fill in the cracks a little bit. And that's a lot of what we do here in the studios.
I like that.
So I will say it is my favorite place in the village as well. So
I love an excuse to come down here and see Rachel. So the reason why I asked Rachel to join us is because we've been gearing up for this wellness event that we're doing, the 8 Dimensions of Wellness, and art is a huge role in that. And Rachel will be hosting kind of an art experience for our people, for the folks who attend. They'll be able to come into the art studios and experience part of that and dig a little deeper as to understand, why does this matter?
Right.
You know, I mean, there's actual science behind it. And so I'm excited for you to share a little bit with us about that in a minute. You recently had shared an article that my mind was blown. It was interesting. But so first, let's recap first, because this is all about the 8 dimensions of wellness. There is physical, social, intellectual, vocational, emotional, environmental, and health services. I bet you would be hard pressed not to find every single one of those could take place in the practice of creative arts.
Right, probably the least is health services, as you might imagine, though we do participate in supporting health services as well. It's interesting to me every time, so the Dimensions of Wellness concept has been out there really for my entire time at Westminster. So
1970s, we learned from Jill. It started
when. So when I came through, we started looking. I've been at Westminster now, it'll be 9 years in July. I came in through life enrichment. I'm an artist by trade, and I was going to work a little bit to balance out my art income, and that was really about it. And then, the rest, as they say, is kind of history. Now I sit in 2 fully equipped art studios, and we have art programming 5 days a week. But the thing that's kind of interesting about art is we're never just one dimension of wellness. It's never a thing. We're never just one. I can't say, okay, this is intellectual experience today. It's not that. Really what it is it's very layered in every program that we do. So take, for example, a program that we had recently, one of our flower arranging programs, a very popular program here at Westminster. We have 2 sessions once a month, flower arranging for your home. It sounds like, because we're all kind of acclimated to, either order flowers from the florist or go into the grocery store and get one of the little sleeves, cut the bottom off. They call it a chop and drop, cut it off, drop it in a vase, you're good to go, right? So we truly embrace flower arranging though as an art activity. And so recently we did one where we used a particular leaf that's grown and harvested and used for the making of traditional leis in Hawaii.
Oh.
And so those leaves, then we always go through kind of the botany of where are these things, what are these flowers and plants, where do they come from originally, where are they grown and farmed, and how do they get to us, all those different components. We also talk about color theory in there, and we talk about, so with the Hawaiian leaves, we were really opened a whole conversation avenue about vacation and travel and where have you been. And those conversations enter into the social and emotional, the intellectual, what is this flower I'm dealing with? How do I care for it? but also that creative mindset of, all right, you've handed me this bunch of flowers. I'm not allowed to just cut the bottom off. I've got to do something with it. How do we arrange it? So all of those things combine, and that's really what we always are working for, is to not just isolate a dimension of wellness in a class, but to actually touch as many of them as we can inside of a class. So every art program kind of goes there.
I think it speaks to the holistic approach of Westminster Village. It's one of the reasons why I really, when I first approached all of you in the village, all of our kind of experts and folks who support the village, about doing an event that would showcase that, because our grounds are beautiful, our community is beautiful. And that's a given, that's nice, but that's not what makes Westminster Village really, I want to say, the magic sauce, or what makes it special, what makes it work. It's all of this, and then all the people in the community coming together to approach these different programs and wellness from a holistic sense. I think that's what makes it truly unique.
Right, there's no single, I mean, I would gather that everyone watching probably would agree with this statement, but no one ever just does one thing. We all live these well-rounded lives. And my mindset has always been, why would you stop doing that when you retire to Westminster? Why would you stop that here? So that's one of the things that struck me actually very early on, is as I was interacting with residents, I was first beginning to work here, I realized these are remarkable people. They've lived remarkable lives. They are educated. They are still engaged in their community. Why would they stop? Right. At what point do we flip a switch and say, now we want to play bingo and watch movies, be entertained, right? I mean, nothing against bingo and movies. I'm not dissing them, but
it's not a stop.
Right.
It's finding new ways to engage, finding new ways to use your talents and your mind. And I learned so much from, in doing what we do. It's just, my life has been enriched because I've learned so much. It's just amazing.
Exactly.
So we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you give us just a broad view of the art programming, your role? How does all that work here?
Right. So we have programming 5 days a week. We go the full continuum of care. So that means that our cart goes out to the health center, assisted living. It also does memory care services, and we'll go there as our memory care center is completed. So we do that work, but we also have programming here in the studios 5 days a week. And that could be a little bit of everything. I have 6 different professional teaching artists in the community who come in and teach certain programs. Many of them will be names that you would know. Jerry Arts, for example, yesterday taught a watercolor class, 2 sessions. Glenn Chang teaches photography. Amanda Kendrick Deemer, who may not be a name you know, but she teaches at Purdue. She teaches acrylic and drawing. Just have a whole variety of different teaching artists who come in, lend their expertise. They kind of go through some extra training with me. Other classes than I teach. So I teach about half of what we have here in the studios. Some of it I teach well, and some of it I teach moderately well. We always have a kind of a good time with it.
You have a sign by the door that says there's no wrong.
No wrong in the room. That's right. And because really that is that holistic approach. It's not just me leading a class, it's everybody in the class and their varied experiences and life experience and creative ideas, what they want to do. And we recently did a ceramic project. We made MC Escher inspired puzzles in ceramics. So there's ceramic puzzles, tessellated ceramic puzzles.
I haven't seen this.
They're pretty fantastic. They're pretty fantastic. So, but it was fascinating kind of watching people explore Escher's work. I want to do the fish, I want to do the geese, I want to do the birds, I want to do, so it was really kind of fun to watch that play out and why, and how they chose to decorate those and work on those. It's really just kind of fascinating. So that's kind of, those are some recent projects, but really some phenomenal work coming out of the studios, and also sometimes it's phenomenal craftiness. And I think it's okay to be crafty sometimes. But we're not really a googly eye and pipe cleaner kind of place. We are true art studios focused on fine art, even when we get into so we have a stained glass class going right now, for example, and that will swap out for fused glass. And oil painting happens every week. Needle felting,
I love your art card program.
Mhm.
That's a really neat one, and that's something that people get to kind of experience when they come. The clay work is really quite phenomenal, the sculpting.
Right, so we did a couple of different sculptural units, which is kind of cool. One of our residents actually fell so in love with that. He's moved on to plastique, and we're going to cast his sculpting, so it's kind of
Oh,
exciting.
neat.
But we also partner, so we talked about earlier about the community outreach. So for example, our sculpture project, we did busts, and actually one of the high schools, local high schools, Harrison, the art teacher, said, would you come and teach our instructors this process? And so I got to go teach the art teachers at TSC for a few weeks, and those types of collaborations are really wonderful for us to engage in.
Well, and you have other collaborations now.
Right.
You have some neat things coming up. You have a permanent display down at this new city hall.
We're thrilled. The city of West Lafayette gave us permanent display space in the new Marjoram City Hall, and we rotate that out every month to two and get to highlight different artwork. That's a big deal, is to be able to put our art out there, not just for the affirmation of the artist who created it, but also to help explain to our community who we are and why art matters. That's why we do the art cards. We can send out a beautiful piece of paper that says made in the art studios, why art is important. That's really a lot of the drive behind this. And that's the thing, we know art is good. We've known that for a long time.
Right.
Art development here at Westminster has really been, it's been led by residents. That's how it started. I brought in a couple of art classes and people said, oh, we kind of like that. Maybe we should do more. And they pushed, as a resident driven community, they pushed for there to be studios and what those would look like. So their wisdom that's kind of brought us to this place. But one of the things that's been kind of interesting, you mentioned a study earlier.
Yes, this was fascinating.
For an artist, I have a remarkable love for science too. So.
Well, now when I went to, when I was in college, I was fortunate I got to go to Heron. And one of the things I remember in my first year, because your first year you're doing foundations. And so even though you might be specializing in a certain track or going to a certain program, the first year you're doing sculpting, you're doing photography, you're doing all of it, color theory, all of those things. And I remember him saying that being an artist is not he was trying to, the point was you weren't being a slough off, because this was actually a lot more industrious study than you realize, and a lot of science and math and all these things that I thought I hated.
It's a huge amount of science and math and art.
Huge
amount.
It's fascinating.
It is. So one of the things, there's been some, kind of a large body of research over time. Gene Cohen was one of kind of the original researchers of wellness as we age. And at the time when he started his research, he created the first longitudinal study of wellness as we age. And he fought, I don't know if anyone's out there familiar, his reading is fascinating, but he fought for funding for this. Because at the time it was kind of like, well, old people just die and that's what they do. That was the mindset at the time. And so why would we invest in learning more about what makes them happy while they're dying? It's a terrible mindset, but that's the mindset that used to exist. And so Gene Cohen did this initial study, and that spurred a lot of different studies over time. But most of it is focused on wellness as you age. And I was pretty excited. I found a study fairly recently done. It was released last year. It dealt with not just how you feel as you age, but the effect of active participation in the arts on mortality. So this was the first one I found that says doing art, actively engaging in arts will make you live longer, better and longer.
We've always thought that it definitely lends to your well-being.
Right.
But it was fascinating to see that there's some studies now with conclusive evidence.
Well, and not just conclusive, as this one was kind of perfectly suited because it was a longitudinal study with a reasonable cohort. It wasn't like 12 people. So, that's always the question.
Right.
With geographic diversity, with socioeconomic diversity, and a very, very clearly defined path of what active participation in the arts means. And longitudinally showed over time effect on mortality. So it really, this is a bit of neuroscience I can get behind. It's pretty exciting though to read it. And it was interesting because it broke down, the number one thing you can do is to make music.
Wow.
Number one thing you can do is make music because it engages your brain, you're learning, and that's the key. Really, the common thread in all of this is the ability to continue to learn.
Mhm.
And why? So this validates what we see. It validates observationally what's happening in the studios. People, even when they come in and are not, they say, I'm not artistic, I'm not creative, I don't really want to do this, it feels a little bit uncomfortable to me. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, come on in. Because the act of doing it, the act of learning it and experiencing it, that is the art that is created. Now, if you happen to end up with something that you absolutely love and you want to cherish, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay too. But you
Because
came in,
participated.
yeah, you did the
You
thing.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so really everything in here we offer in some capacity at Westminster Village.
Yeah, I mean, when you said that to me, I was like, wow, I shared this on our
Yeah.
Facebook page a couple weeks ago.
It's
So
exciting.
you can go back to our Facebook page if you want to read this study, because it's not that long,
Mhm.
and it was just really informative.
It is very informative, very interesting. And I'll be talking about this more. We're celebrating World Art Day.
Coming up next month.
Big week, but it is, so here's the thing, it's April 15th, which is Good Friday. So talking about working collaboratively in concert with the chaplain and out of respect for the fact that it's Good Friday, I moved World Art Day. I mean,
it's you're gonna make a whole week.
I'm gonna make a whole week.
No
I'm
reason
gonna
why
move
World
it.
Art Day can't be World Art Week
Right.
at Westminster Village.
And so we have a really jam-packed week. It's a great opportunity for us to focus on international art. And so we have Jerry Arts will be in, actually, that's her week again. She'll be back with kite painting, not painting of kites, but watercolor of kite landscapes. There we go. So that's happening. We, of course, are doing Ukrainian folk art, flowers. I feel like it's a good time to bring in that. We're looking at a specific Indian art, folk art that we'll be doing for note card art that we have. It's just layered on layers and layers and layers. We've got
so I'll have to document this.
Yes.
For social media, because it's my job.
And we have
it's going to give me an excuse to be here every day.
Right. Well, and you definitely want to come on Tuesday because we have a local baker who is bringing in cupcakes. We're doing cupcake decorating, some of the new and kind of innovative techniques of cupcake decorating. You didn't know there were innovative techniques for
what there is.
Right.
Food is a whole other creative process.
Right. So we are celebrating World Art Day is actually settled on Da Vinci's birthday.
Oh.
And so we're just going to celebrate the birthday of all the masters in one.
I think that's great.
In 1 week. So yeah, that is World Art Day week.
I like it.
We're doing.
Well, we need to make now something that all of you can share in. If you're not a resident of Westminster Village, is they can attend at the museum.
Yes.
Series. So that is the first Friday of every month. It is on Zoom, just like this. You can register for it. Go to our website or email me. We can get you a link to that. And this month coming up, it's going to be.
And we're doing the Art of the Garden, but we're doing plein air. So there are some beautiful gardens around the world, and I think this time of year,
better art.
We're all we're all hungry for a little bit of green here in Indiana. So we're going to look at some of those beautiful gardens and kind of set the stage and look at the history of plein air. Painting, and there's really some remarkable stories there. I love some remarkable stories.
Well,
so
I'm excited to hear it.
We have some fun things coming up. I'm working my way through a book about the history of color right now, where it came from, how it was found, some of the stories. I have a fascinating segment on the origin of the pencil. I can talk about pencils a lot now, but so that'll be coming up in a later one, talking about color and So this is
I
part
mean,
of
I've
the,
studied the history of the dyes and how we were able to get to use the colors in the rainbow, but oh, that'll be fun.
oh, there's all kinds of intrigue.
It's my favorite, probably my favorite event of the month to do, because I have an excuse to get to sit in on an art class
There you go.
because I have to run this. I have a job to do, so I get to sit in and enjoy it.
Well, and another one coming up, that art week that I mentioned, that Tuesday night, I'm doing an evening art talk. I'm going to go through some of this research and some historical research. I'm also going to go through ways to become engaged in art programming at Westminster. So,
Well, that maybe we should talk about if we should film that. Yeah.
that'll be happening that Tuesday night.
Awesome.
All right, I've
Well-
absconded with your agenda. What else did you have for me?
That, I think we've covered everything, even though we went all over the place. The wellness event coming up.
Oh, we're doing Suminagashi printing.
Oh.
I didn't tell you. So those of you coming to the Dimensions Wellness event, it means ink on water, ink floating on water. And we'll be doing it on rice paper, mulberry paper. Here, I've got a couple of beauties,
Oh.
kind of samples.
Oh, and I wish you could see the texture of this.
Yeah, so these, they're not probably showing up beautifully on the camera, but these
Yeah,
are a little
you can see
light.
they're kind of, yeah, but if you could see up close, they're just like marbleized and just
Right.
really pretty.
So this is an opportunity to come in and actually be in the studio space, do something that's quick and
we
painless.
should say the reason why, so the art card program is a fundraiser.
Mhm.
It's an ongoing fundraiser for the studios, for the foundation at the bazaar time. And so you'll get to participate in art and give back to the community.
That's right. You're going to
So
create
it's like a
art.
double deal. And you'll get to
Yeah.
take a little piece home with you.
Right.
So that'll be exciting.
It is. It's
A little sample you'll get to take home with you.
right. Exactly. We've made over 5,000 art cards at this point.
Wow.
It's a lot of art. It's a lot
That's
of
a
art
lot
cards.
of
So we
art
need
cards.
a lot of art for a lot of art cards. They're quite a popular product.
Well, I buy them for us
yeah.
because I like to send them out over something that we could order from a store. Right? It's so much more special. So anyways, well, if you have questions, now is the time to answer those. Let's head over to Trisha and get the updates from Trisha this morning. Good morning, Trisha. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello. So as you can tell, we are really excited for next week's Dimensions of Wellness event. Plan to wear comfy clothes and join us for this hands-on event. Get your RSVPs in as soon as possible because seating is limited. It's open for residents and non-residents alike. Depositors, check the Club WV and your inbox and the Club WV Facebook group for an invitation to a special event coming up in a few weeks. And heads up, as we are all thinking about spring cleaning, we will be having Eco Shred on site next month for Earth Day, Friday at April 22nd. You're invited to bring any documents that need to be shredded. Just bring over your box and drop it off. They will securely shred your documents.
Thank you, Trisha. All right, so you heard her say, if you haven't registered for the wellness, Dimensions of Wellness next week, please let us know that you're coming. And depositors, there is a special event for depositors and residents only coming up April 3rd. Check the Facebook group for that and your emails, and the Eco Shred event. So that'll be interesting. You'll be able just to drive through, drop off. It's spring cleaning time to get stuff shredded. It'll be secure, and we will take care of that for you at no charge to you. Just come on in. You won't even have to get out of your car. Well, I think you'll have to get out to get your box out, but it'll be super painless, except for the gathering. I can't help you gather your stuff up at home. I can't help with that part, but we'll take care of it once you get it gathered up. Let's check and make sure there were no questions. There's not. We will record this, post the recording for anyone who missed it. And thank you for joining us. We will see you next week, our last week before the Dimensions of Wellness event. And then we will be on a 2-week spring break before we come back again. When we do come back, we are going to be sharing, people have probably heard rumblings of some big stuff happening at Westminster Village. I'm pretty sure the rumors are going around but you might not know exactly what's happening. And we are going to spend some time talking about the changes that are happening here. I will say this, WV expansion 2022. Is that enough? Is that
That's
enough
good.
of a teaser? Okay. All right, well, we hope to see you all next week at our wellness event. And if in any case, we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Thank you.